Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday kicked off the intensive part of the Lok Sabha campaign leading up to the 11th of April polling from rallies in Uttar Pradesh, which was in Meerut, in Rudrapur, in Uttarakhand, as well as in Jammu. Well, essentially, he took the platform to attack the Congress as well as the larger opposition on 4 key issues: national security, welfare or development, corruption, as well as the concept of Grand Alliance. Let's look at some of the points he used and what he really said. On the issue of national security, particularly after the Pulwama terror attack and the Balakot airstrikes, the BJP has decided to make it the center of the campaign, and on that the Prime Minister said, in a desire to become Pakistan's heroes, those who made anti-national and anti-India statements, would they be forgiven by you all? So clearly referring to the Congress and other opposition leaders who've questioned what really transpired in Balakot and whether the airstrikes really had any impact. He also talked about how the opposition was insulting the armed forces, and he brought up the Bofors scam, saying you all know very well what they did with Bofors. Today you see heavy weapons and artillery guns being made in India. Well, essentially, the PM and the BJP as a whole will look to attack the Congress, particularly on the issue of national security. The party believes that its muscular approach to the issue would help tilt the scales in its favor. The other issue that the PM talked about was development or welfare. He said the whole country saw how 4 generations in the Congress promised to remove poverty. Today, the work you see that is being done is of a developed India, a new India. Do you know the reason behind it? Essentially saying that the Congress had not done anything to eradicate poverty in the country, had not done much to develop the country, but the last 5 years of his government had taken such initiatives. On the issue of corruption, well, that has been another issue where the BJP has been targeting the Congress, even though the BJP is the incumbent. On Thursday, the Prime Minister said, remember the days under the Congress, that this scam, that scam, the other scam, but not anymore. It shows what the culture was under the Congress and what it is today. Well, this is also the part where really he brought up the Chaukidar narrative. We know how much the BJP has been talking about it and how much the PM has been talking about it. And all his speeches today also mentioned Chaukidar and were with a generous dose of melodrama, as is his trait now. On the issue of alliance, when the Maha Milawat, the word that he had coined, was something that came up again today. He's been talking about how these opposition parties, this motley group coming together, would create instability, and that this was an opportunistic alliance of these parties and not something that was driven by any ideology. And he did the same thing on Thursday as well. What the BJP wants to do, and the PM in particular, is drive this contrast between a decisive, strong BJP and a stable government under the BJP, as opposed to the instability under this kind of an alliance. He said these Maha Milawat leaders flourish when the country has cracks, when the country is weak, because they can exploit this to make their personal fortune. He went on to say that if these Maha Milawat leaders get a chance, all the good work will be lost. They will cripple the country again. So essentially telling the voters that the BJP should be brought back to power because it can provide a stable government, unlike this shaky government that could come if the Maha Milawat, as he calls it, the grand opposition, were to come to power. Do keep track of The Print for much more. We have a lot to offer. For The Print, this is Ruhi Tiwari.